The fall of 1812 was an eventful time in St. Louis, indeed in the entire world. World War I was in full swing, a war that would claim an estimated 16 million lives by the time it was done. In addition, a strange and vicious influenza pandemic was spreading across the globe. It affected over 25% of the U.S. population. In 1 year, 1918, the average life expectancy in the United States dropped by 12 years. I decided to try my hand at newspaper indexing because I knew these two major historical events would result in some very interesting articles to index. In particular, I selected the St. Louis Post-Dispatch because of its rich history that dates back to its establishment by Joseph Pulitzer, of Pulitzer Prize fame, in 1874. There already does exist an index for the Post-Dispatch, but it does not date back to 1918. I followed the example of the professional indexers of the 2011 Post-Dispatch and did not index the following items: articles from other newspapers and periodicals, stock market listings, society announcements, self-help and advice columns, meeting announcements, advertising, comic strips, and weather reports. In addition, to narrow the criteria further, I also did not index editorials or any images such as photographs. More exactly, I only indexed articles written by Post-Dispatch staff during the week of October 20th, 1918. ProQuest is a company that indexed the more recent years of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. They developed their own controlled vocabulary containing over 11,000 subject terms. I started off trying to use their vocabulary, but switched to natural language, thinking the terms and topics of almost 100 years ago did not align very well with their options. I eventually switched back to ProQuest controlled vocabulary because my headings were becoming too disorganized and needed more structure. One of the toughest decisions and challenges I faced was deciding how many terms in each article to index. The User's Guide for ProQuest 2011 Index states that personal, institutional, product, and geological names are all treated as subject headings and are interfiled alphabetically with topical headings. I was not sure if this meant every person and company mentioned in an article should be indexed. What if they're not key players in the situation the article is describing? To resolve this dilemma, I thought about the intended audience for this index: genealogists, journalists, and historians. I think they all could possibly benefit from minute indexing of persons, places, and companies. In particular, amateur genealogists might get a special thrill out of seeing their great-uncle's name in print, even if he was only listed as the chairman of a drive to collect photograph records for the troops during the war. In the end, I decided to index all proper names. One of the challenges associated with indexing older newspapers is being able to see the article clearly. For the sake of accuracy, I did not index any articles that I could not see clearly to avoid misinterpreting what the article was about. When a part of an article was missing, I did not index it. The last major challenge I dealt with was the creating of entries in Cindex that matched how the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and even the New York Times format their indexes. This image is from the Post-Dispatch. It looks very different from a back-of-the-book index. This is how the Post-Dispatch formats their entries. I followed their general format, but I did not use the author field because most of my articles do not list an author. Furthermore, I did not use the field for article type because all of my articles were news articles.
Extra, extra, read all about it!
In conclusion, I now believe that only experienced indexers can do an adequate job of indexing major newspapers. It is a difficult task to filter all the information that gets printed on a daily basis. I am glad I attempted it, though. I learned a lot about local history and about the indexing process.